Most Canadians approaching retirement ask themselves one question: do I have enough money? It's a reasonable question, but it's the wrong one to start with, and just one in a long list. Because retirement readiness is not just a number in an account. It's a combination of financial clarity, personal clarity, and an honest look at a few things most people have never actually sat down and assessed. Today, I want to walk you through a real retirement readiness check, not a full financial plan, which takes time and detail, but a fast, honest self-assessment that will tell you where you actually stand. And I want to start somewhere most retirement videos never do. Hi, I'm Stefano Francesca, Certified Financial Planner Professional and Senior Wealth Advisor at Next Step Wealth Management with IPC Securities Corporation. Let's get into it. If you find this helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe. It genuinely helps more Canadians find this content. Before we look at a single number, I want you to answer this question honestly. What are you actually retiring to? Not from, to. Most people have a very clear picture of what they are leaving. The commute, the meetings, the inbox that never empties, the Sunday anxiety that starts around 4 p.m. That part is vivid. What's often not clear is what replaces it. The structure, the purpose, the reason to get out of bed on a Tuesday in February where there's nowhere to be and it's minus 25 outside in a snowstorm if you live in Alberta. I have sat across from two people in nearly identical financial situations, same savings, same timeline, same age, who retired within a year of each other. One had spent years building something to retire to: hobbies, community, social network, a morning routine that had nothing to do with work. The other retired cold turkey. And within 18 months, the difference in their health, their mental sharpness, and their relationships was striking. Here's what most people do not realize. That difference has financial consequences. Canadians who retire without a clear sense of what they're doing next tend to make more emotional financial decisions, spend erratically in the early years, and struggle far more with the shift from accumulating to drawing down. Some go back to work, not because they want to, ironically because they have to fill their time with something. So before you open another RRSP statement, answer this question: what are you retiring to? If you cannot answer that with clarity, that is the first gap you need to close. If you are married or in a common law relationship, I want to ask you something direct. Have you and your spouse actually talked about retirement? Or have you just assumed you're on the same page? Because there is a version of that conversation that sounds like alignment. We want to retire around the same time, travel, and spend time with the grandkids. That is not a plan. That is a shared daydream. The real conversation is much harder. Who stops working first? And what happens to the income in that gap? What does a Tuesday look like when you're both at home full-time every day? Have you talked about what each of you actually wants, not what sounds reasonable just to say out loud? I raise this question because the couple's conversation is not just emotional. It's financially consequential in ways most people don't see until it's too late to optimize. If one spouse retires 5 years before the other, the CPP timing changes. The RRSP drawdown changes strategy. The tax brackets change. Income splitting decisions change. Everything changes. A plan built around one assumption that gets executed differently is one of the most expensive misalignments I see. And it is almost always fixable if you catch it early enough. If you and your spouse have genuinely worked through the specifics and you are aligned, that is a strong readiness signal. If you have been assuming alignment without testing it, that conversation needs to happen before anything else. Alignment as a couple is key. That's why we always meet spouses together. I want you to picture something. It's your first week of retirement. The income stops, and somewhere in the background, a mortgage payment still comes out on the first of the month. Most Canadians assume that by the time they retire, the debt will be gone. Mortgage paid off, lines of credit cleared, a clean slate. According to Statistics Canada's 2023 survey of financial security, 39% of Canadian families still carry a mortgage with a median balance of roughly $205,000. That mortgage payment in retirement is not just a number. It's a direct reduction in what your retirement income actually buys you. Every dollar servicing that debt is a dollar that cannot go towards the travel, the family, the experiences you spent your career working towards. And it changes everything downstream. How much you need to draw, how aggressively your portfolio has to perform, when you start your CPP, how much room you have to manage your tax brackets. The readiness check is simple but important. Do you have a clear plan, not a hope, a plan for exactly where your debt will sit the day you stop working? A payoff date, a number, a timeline that is grounded in what you actually know about the years ahead. You do not need to be debt-free on day one, but you need to know what you are carrying and what it costs your retirement income every single month. Here's the one that catches most people off guard because they think they know the answer, and when we actually dig in, most of them do not. The question is not how much have you saved. The question is how much income do you need every month and where exactly is it coming from? Those are two completely different questions and both need a specific answer. I've seen people walk into retirement with a healthy portfolio and no idea which account to draw from first. Drawing from the wrong source, in the wrong order, in the wrong tax year can cost tens of thousands of dollars that never had to go to the CRA. It happens constantly, not because people are careless, but because nobody ever mapped it out for them. CPP, when do you start it? And at what amount based on your actual contribution history, not a rough guess. OAS, when do you turn it on? And have you modeled the clawback risk if your total income pushes above or near that OAS clawback threshold, which sits around $95,000 and is indexed annually? RRSPs or RRIF, how much do you draw? In what order? And at what marginal tax rate? TFSA, how do you use it strategically, not just as an afterthought? If you have a pension, how does all that interact? What if you have a corporation with retained earnings? What strategy are you using to deal with that tax liability and convert those corporate dollars into personal enjoyment? According to IG Wealth Management's 2025 research, 1 in 3 non-retired Canadians expect to delay retirement due to financial necessity. A meaningful portion of that group may actually be able to retire today, but they do not know that because no one has ever laid it out clearly. So they keep working, not because they have to, because they are not sure. They're uncomfortable and they don't have peace of mind. The readiness check here is this. Can you write down right now, from memory, your expected monthly retirement income from every source and confirm it covers what you actually spend? If yes, you're likely in a really, really strong position. If you are estimating and hoping, that gap is costing you more than you think. This last check is for the people still building, still in the years where what you do today has the most impact on what retirement actually looks like. Here's what I see consistently. Most Canadians have no idea what percentage of their income they are actually saving. They contribute to an RRSP, maybe a TFSA, maybe a workplace pension, but they have never added it up and compared it to their gross income. That number matters enormously because the gap between saving 8% and saving 18% does not just mean a slightly different retirement. It can mean retiring 5 years earlier or 5 years later. It can mean the difference between a retirement that does what you planned and one that requires constant compromise. As a general planning benchmark, and this is my professional guidance, not a government target, saving 15 to 20% of your gross household income annually, including any workplace pension contributions, gives most Canadians a realistic path to a well-funded retirement. If you are meaningfully below that and retirement is within 10 years, that is the most urgent readiness gap that you have, because time is the one variable you cannot recover. So before we close out, here is where I want to leave you. 5 questions. Most Canadians have thought carefully about 1 or 2 of them. What are you retiring to, not just from? Are you and your spouse genuinely aligned on what retirement actually looks like day to day? Is your debt picture accounted for in your income plan? Do you know your specific monthly retirement income from every source? And does the math hold? Are you saving at the rate that actually gets you there? If you can answer yes to all 5 with confidence, you are in a strong position. If some of those answers are uncertain, that's not a crisis. That is exactly what a retirement income plan is designed to resolve. And the Canadians who walk into retirement with the most confidence are not always the ones with the most money. They are the ones who asked the right questions, where there was still time to act on those answers. If you went through those questions today and found gaps in your income plan, your debt picture, your CPP and OAS timing, or your drawdown strategy, that is exactly what we work through. Click the link in the description to book a consultation. We do this with Canadians every day. Our Next Step Wealth Management service is designed to create that purpose, alignment, and clarity for your retirement planning, and we would be happy to help you get clear on where you actually stand. Let's take the next step.